What is America's biggest problem? It's not a problem that it has, it's something that it doesn't have, something that's missing. That's what's America's biggest problem. And what's missing in America is something in people's everyday consciousness. And that could be called here and nowness. Here and nowness is what's missing in America, and other countries in the West as well. Ram Dass, a guy named Ram Dass, wrote a book called Be Here Now, back in the late 60s. And that was the whole essential subject of this book, was to be here now, to try to get people to be aware of the present moment, to bring their highest consciousness, their highest awareness to every single moment. And it was a huge success, this book, but only among a small portion of America that was interested in these things. Ram Dass used to be called Richard Alpert. His name was Richard Alpert. Him and Timothy Leary were professors at Harvard, and they started experimenting with LSD, and ultimately they got kicked out of Harvard. And then Timothy Leary, if you remember, he started his kind of thing, and then Richard Alpert went to India, and he changed his name to Ram Dass, and he went more the religious path, but they were both dropouts from society. And there was this huge, the hippies and all the counterculture and the love hymns and the encounter groups and all the drugs and the tremendous artistic explosion and all this. What was that all about? That was to be here now, trying to find something that was missing in life, that exists in here and nowness. If you were to go to the eastern part of the world, Orient, nobody would be interested in a book like that. Nobody would be interested in any of those radical kinds of procedures, because in Thailand, in China, in Japan, everybody is already here now. Their parents teach their children there. Nobody ever loses here and nowness. Everybody's here and now. But if you ever want to find out what America is really missing, that book is still really valid. Read Be Here Now by Ram Dass. It's an incredible book. America has so much. There's so much wealth and so much that people in other countries don't have. And yet, what does it profit a man if it gains possession of the whole world and loses his own soul? Well, if you're not, and people have a lot of knowledge, religious knowledge, they read a lot, and they have a great understanding of so many philosophies, and we have so many artistic expressions of truth, and there's so many great movies and great music, and we know what it is. We have a great understanding of so many things on a mental level. But where's the here and nowness? Where's the experience of here and nowness in life? Where's the consciousness? You see happy people. You see, we got 10 million depressed people. 10 to 30 million, clinically depressed people in this country. We've got people that have it all. They've got money and everything. They're handsome, beautiful people trying to kill themselves. It happens all the time. We got more crazy things. We got people going into schools and killing people. We got some crazy people. We got more obesity. We got kids and teenagers. We got so many problems with obesity. And where does all this come from? It comes from depression, whether it's clinically described as depression or whether it's, it hasn't actually been clinical. People are depressed. If you're not bringing life, if all you have is the material world, there's nothing there. There's no life in it. You have to bring life into every single moment. So what I was talking about the chakras and clearing the chakras and meditating, this is what everybody needs to do in this country. Everybody. So few people are going to get this in America. We went through that whole thing back in the 60s, and what happened to it? It's all gone. Whenever you lose this consciousness, or you don't bring this consciousness to every moment, you become subject to outside regulation by powers and principalities. In other words, without the life force, you don't know what people are thinking. You don't know what's going on. Without consciousness in society. That's why people go off and doing these crazy killing students. Nobody sees that coming. Well, he seemed like a normal guy. He was living next door. He seemed like a regular guy to me. We don't know what happened. And this, we don't know. We don't know what the guy next door is doing. That's because of our awareness. We're not aware of things. We've lost that awareness. Awareness dissipates negativity. Let's take a guy like that was going around, had the idea in his mind to go shoot a bunch of people. If he would become aware of that, if he could bring that to awareness, and just through meditation, that would go away. That idea, that thought that he has for doing that, can't stand in the light of awareness. If he were to meditate, come into contact with somebody who could teach him these grounding techniques and these meditation techniques, that desire that he has, that crazy, perverted desire that he has in his mind, couldn't stand up to awareness. And as he became aware, as he started to become focused and develop his here and nowness and awareness, that would just go away. That's a very extreme example, but this is what happens when you meditate and when you open up these chakras and become aware of these chakras and clear the spine every moment, all the time, bringing your attention, that you begin to live in the moment, and these negativities can't stand. You put a smile on your face, but in America, you're such a minority when you're doing this. And everybody knows this. Everybody has this awareness. And that's why it's such a pleasure to go over there. You feel so embarrassed to be from America when you go to a country like Thailand. And I wholeheartedly recommend people to go to Thailand and see what's going on over there. One of the things another way of describing it about the Oriental mind is the spirit of non-attachment. You might think, well, you're talking about this counterculture. How do you go to work? How do you have responsibility? How do you contribute to society if you're going to be all the time just trying to be here and now and trying to live in the moment? How do you study mathematics, for example? Well, go to China and take a look. If they're studying mathematics, they have engineers and they a great entrepreneurial, bustling society. But you darn tootin', everybody's in the here and now while they're doing that. You can go to India, you can go to Thailand. It's not that you can't exist on a everyday work, do your work, and contribute to consciousness. But if you go to these Asian countries, they're doing both at the same time. They're working, and they're all, and this can be described as the spirit of non-attachment. That you're just not attached to anything. Whatever you're doing, that's the spirit of Zen Buddhism. Whatever you're doing, there's nobody doing anything. But in America, people are attached to the smallest kinds of experiences that create negativity, and they can't clear their spine. And it's the old there's always a biblical quote: they strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. They don't have the proper perspective. This is the thing, when people don't develop their consciousness and awareness, they don't know. So the guy next door that's going to go out and kill 100 school kids, well, he looked okay to me. I mean, we didn't notice anything about him. And this is the thing, you lose all your sensitivity. You lose all your perspective. You lose all, then your sensitivity increases. Everything that's negative dissipates. And you can see what's going on. You can see things in people that's really at a very deep level without making mistakes about it, or thinking that he was a good guy. And society's crimes and violent crimes and everything, and a lot of the diseases that people have that are really all this obesity and heart disease and all that stuff just dissipates away. You go to Japan, they don't have hardly any crime. They've got their organized crime. That's where most of the crime. And same in Thailand, they have their yakuza and they have organized. But as far as the average person, the average person, they have very little crime, very little disease. You see, everyone is very healthy in Thailand.